We are about to go live, and we are live. Over to you, Alex.
All right. Thanks all the Celsians for joining us this Friday. Great to have you all. I hope everybody is healthy and safe. I want to cover some updates, topics about some news, recent news, as well as we have our technical team here, some of our technical team guys, and we'll dive into all your questions. There's still time to add some of your questions to the chat, and we'll try to address as many of them as possible. So quick updates. As you've seen, we actually crossed $1 billion in AUM several times. Then it went down a little bit. Now it's solidly above $1 billion. Fully deployed. We've never had more coin loans or dollars loans out to customers. Still zero defaults. As we expect, all of our customers have a lot of collateral with us, so it's in their best interest to keep these loans going. But we do need more coins. We don't have enough Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Bitcoin as well. So if you want to help out, we definitely could take another probably $200 million worth of all these different coins. Record new users, record depositors. Really, everything is growing very, very nicely. Again, you can track all these numbers real time in the app. Just go to the community page, and also obviously you can tune in weekly and get the updates from us live. The big news today or this week actually was one was the OCC. These are the oversight, the government body that oversees all the U.S. banks. And for the first time ever, the OCC not just mentioned the word Bitcoin, but also stated that they will be creating a new charter or a new license that will allow crypto companies to have basically almost the same right, to be the same type of citizen as traditional banks. Obviously, that's not what banks want to hear, but it's exactly what Celsius was waiting for, right? I mean, we, besides the fact that we want to offer services in all 50 states, when the OCC says something, the rest of the world listens. And it's not just very important for the United States, it's important basically for every bank that works with US banks, which is every bank in the world. So we're very excited about this news. It's big news. I think the media missed the value of these news. I haven't heard much people talking about it, but if there was a crack in the wall where basically you could see that the other side, the banking side, is seeing the fact that we're coming at them and that the regulators are siding with us, it just happened this week. I've had exactly the same thing happen in 2006. When basically the oversight body, in that case it was the FCC, not the SEC, or the OCC, but the Federal Communication Commission decided not to regulate the internet and allow voice over IP. Sorry, 1996. What I'm talking about, 2006. 1996, the FCC decided not to regulate the internet and not to regulate voice over IP. Which basically forced all the phone companies to convert into voice over IP, right? Until then, the voice companies thought that they could kill VoIP. And now I can tell you for sure that I just don't see how banks are going to be able to kill MoIP. So we're going all the way. So the other big news is that this morning, China and Russia announced that they're going to try not to use the dollar at all. And 10 years ago, 90% of these countries' transactions were done in dollars. Today, it's about 40%, and they're going to zero. So what does it mean when the second largest economy in the world and the largest country in the world decide that they're going off the dollar standard, right? That is, again, another crack in the dollar wall, which make you think really, really hard if these giant countries, the most populous country in the world, decides not to transact on the dollar. What does that mean to you if you have most of your assets in dollars? Your income is in dollars, Your house is denominated in dollars. Your savings are in dollars, right? So what do you have as a non-correlated asset? What happens? What if something really bad happens to the dollar? How are you protected? So the Celsius wallet the Celsius network is all about non-correlated asset. Everything you find inside our wallet is a way to detach yourself from the dollar and earn more interest or earn yield or income that is not connected to the US dollar. So these are very important things that you need to think about. And you have to think, am I using enough of these services? As I mentioned before, you should have 10 to 20% of your total net worth in gold or silver or Bitcoin, right? Or other crypto assets, right? So and in that you have to count all your income, all your savings, your home, all these things. And then you have to say, okay, how much of my assets are in non-USD, right? And I know look, the US dollar has been around for over 100 years, has been around as a dominant reserve currency for a very long time. But I actually brought some props today to show you why what I'm talking about is so relevant. So I know a lot of people joke that I'm a billionaire because I hold this Zimbabwean $10 billion note. But if you think a one note, right, a piece of paper worth $10 billion is worthless, the Zimbabwe dollar just 30 years ago was more valuable than the US dollar. One Zimbabwe dollar had more value than the US dollar. So how can it be that this note is now worth just a few pennies, right? And if you don't think that this is enough, well, they printed a $20 trillion note. Okay, if you don't think that a $10 billion note was enough, here's a $20 trillion note. So my point is when inflation takes hold, when currencies start to lose their value, the floodgates open up and there's no recourse. You cannot go back. There's no recovery, especially when you're the reserve currency of the planet. Now, we just printed about $10 trillion. We're about to print another 4 or 5. The inflation, the money inflation, which is not the consumer's price index, right? When your government tells you what the inflation is, they are not counting the inflation of money. They're only counting the inflation of eggs and the inflation of milk and the inflation of internet access. And most of those things, the prices are going down. But for money, when the government prints 20% more money in 1 year, which is what just happened to the dollar in the last 6 months, that is 20% inflation. Your dollars immediately are worth 20% less. You didn't feel it. You don't know it's happened, but it's going to hit you over the next year or two. So these are all important things that you need to take into account to protect yourself and create the financial independence and financial freedom for you and your family. So we've seen the third piece that happened is that Bitcoin, I think if you look at the AMAs and interviews I've done publicly since January, I've said several times, we're going to have resistance at 10,000, 12,000, and 14,000. We've hit the 10,000 level, I think, 6 times. We breached it a little bit, and then we retreated back to 9,000, even 8,700, I think, one time. And now we solidly broke through it. Finally, we solidly broke through the 10,000 level, right? Now we have to break through the 12,000. We kissed it twice, but we retreated on heavy volume, right? Which means that there are a lot of short sellers and a lot of other people who basically sell into the market when we hit 12,000. We got to break through that, and then we got to hold 12,000. And then we're going to have a third test at 14,000. That's going to be the final test. When we break through and hold above 14,000, we're going to get very quickly to 20,000. And as I've mentioned many times before, I still expect to see new highs, meaning more than $20,000 per Bitcoin before the end of this year. A lot of it has to do with not what Bitcoin is doing, but with what everybody else is doing. Every other government and every other business who's scared of what's happening with the US dollar, scared of what's happening in Turkey or in Argentina or in Lebanon and in 20 other countries where inflation is now double digits. In some countries, it's over 100%. And in some countries like Venezuela, a $20 trillion note is looks like a bargain. Like this is really worth some money, right? Because they have the world's highest inflation right now. So let's talk about some other things. So the team here on this call is responsible for all the innovation that you're seeing. I mean, every time we see a release and every time you don't get hacked, it's because of all these people who work tirelessly 7 days a week to help you, to help us, and make sure that we have a extremely stable and safe product. As you know, many of our competitors got hacked multiple times. Sometimes all their data got stolen. Sometimes their coins got stolen. Sometimes they got SIM swapped, and so on and so on. And none of those things have happened to Celsius because we take security and we take the architecture and everything that comes with that extremely, it's an extremely important element of who we are as well as our success. So we'll dive into all of that in a minute. So today you can buy coins, right? You can earn interest, you can borrow. Now you can borrow against 30 different coins. You can send whatever you want to other people, anyone in the world, with no fees. We actually cover your fees. If you didn't realize that, every time you withdraw something from the Celsius app, we don't charge you anything, but Celsius actually pays the gas fee on Ethereum. It pays the transfer fee on other blockchains, right? We support, I think, 18 different blockchains. So it's not just that we don't charge fees, we actually pick up the tab. Imagine if you were in a bar and every time you had a drink, somebody came and put that money to get you a free drink. That's what Celsius does every time you transact with us. And the reason we do that is because we make enough money on deploying your assets and earning that 20% to be able to afford that. We just lowered the ACH fee by 90%, right? So I think it's either live already or it's going to be live next week. But from now on, basically, depositing money into Celsius costs 0.1% of the amount deposited, and we hope to do the same thing with SEPA and add many other countries to these services. So we never rest, right? It's not like we achieved, we got the ACH and SEPA and we're happy. We're never happy, right? We're always improving on all these things. Again, when you look at the Celsius rates and you look at some of our competitors' rate, you always have to take into account the fees, the hidden fees that they charge. Sometimes the fee is a liquidation fee. Sometimes the fee is a stability fee. Sometimes the fee is the fact that you have to do 10 transfer to get a transaction. When you have to go from Maker to Compound to another coin to redeposit it 4 times, well, count the number of transactions. Who pays all those fees? Add all those fees, calculate that as a percentage of your income, and you will see no matter what you're earning anywhere else, Celsius still pays you more without the need to do any of these extra steps or jumping through hoops or whatever else. And the reason is because Celsius also deploys the same coins in the same places. We just deploy 10, 20, 30 million at a time. So our costs and our yield are always higher than what you'll be able to do by yourself, or at least under the risk parameters that we allow ourselves to do. If you use Ampleworth and you got 1,000% return, good for you. This is not something that Celsius would do with depositors' money. So again, a very important piece is that you can borrow against 30 coins, including Cell Token. That is also available to all Americans. So that's an amazing achievement. Again, it took us a long time to put all the pieces to deliver that. That is more coins than anyone else. You can deposit any coin, basically any of the top coins you have in your wallet, anywhere else, and instantly get a loan in any stable coin or in cash, right? And that's something that we do better than anybody else. Also, our rates are lower than anybody else. So next week, we're adding 6 new coins to the wallet, which are all staking coins. And these are, again, you'll be able to stake with Celsius on top of the Dash and EOS and other coins that staking coins that we already have. And you know, I hear people talk about how Friday is the best day of the week, and how today is Friday, right? We're about to go for a long weekend. We're gonna have a great time, sun, good food, get some extra sleep. But I think Mondays are the best days of the week. And I think most Celsians feel that Monday is the best day of the week. That's the day you get paid your interest, right? And I want all of you to focus on that. I want all of you to focus on, mentally, you have to have a number in your head. You have to know what is the number that you need to live the rest of your life just on interest income, right? And there is a number like that. For each person, it's a different number, depending what country you live in, how many wives did you have, how many kids you have, right? All this different stuff, right? So, but you have to come up with that number. You have to actually sit down, do the math, and then have a path of how you get there, right? And that path has to include a variety of different assets that'll help you get there. So, and that's why, for example, we have 11 different stable coins, right? No matter what currency you have or what currency you prefer, there's a high chance that we have it in our wallet, and you should have a chunk of your assets in that stable coin so you can earn yield on stable coin and use it as cash. Anytime you need cash, you can just take it, pay bills, emergencies, anything like that. Then you have to have some in gold, right? Gold is an extremely important element. Gold is at an all-time high. We talked about this several times. If you go to the Celsius YouTube channel, you can see me talk about gold since 2018, right? So gold will continue to increase in value because more and more people are realizing that holding their earnings in dinar or in euros or in dollars is a recipe for disaster. And the third piece is all those cryptocurrencies. Again, we're not telling you what's the best one. We don't know what the best one is. Our job is to offer the variety, the best variety. Our job is to try to earn as much as possible on your behalf. And then your job is to select the projects you really believe in. If you really believe in Ethereum, we love Ethereum. You really believe in Bitcoin, we love Bitcoin. You love EOS, we love EOS too, right? So the point is not choosing winners or losers or picking this clan or that clan. That does not help crypto. That does not help the blockchain. The point is that all these things are experiments. I wouldn't put everything in one blockchain, but you should definitely have your favorite. There's nothing wrong with having your favorite. All right, so I'll pause here. The three people that we chose to bring to you, two of them are named Vladimir, and one is Lazar, and they've been with us for a long time. I wanted them to introduce themselves, tell you a little bit about why they're with Celsius, what they're working on, and then we're going to dig in and answer some of your questions. So go ahead.
So, hey guys, hey to all the Celsians listening to this live stream right now. My name is Lazar, and I'm a senior backend engineer and a team lead at Celsius Network, based in Belgrade, Serbia. That's basically it. We are running towards being the leader in the crypto space, and we are very fond of doing that. So off to you, Vlad.
What's your hobby, Lazar? Tell us what is your favorite thing after Celsius?
No, I'm infamous for having like 1,000 hobbies. But the ones I've gone most through are scuba diving, skiing, also speleology is a good one.
Very good. All right, next.
Yeah, we will need a separate AMA for his hobby. So he's very good in everything. He's just more modest, but we are going to work on that. So, hello, I'm Vlad. I'm speaking first, but that does not mean that I'm Vlad number one. So we are all the same here in Celsius. I'm a software engineer, and now I'm working as head of engineering for the Celsius Belgrade office. Little bit about me, I'm very long in software engineering. If I'm starting to talk about how long I'm doing this, I will start to show my age. But let's say that I was coding HTML since the CSS did not exist at all. So I was doing various stuff, trying to build my own payment system to pay something on the internet via SMS, and years are going very fast, and then blockchain and crypto come, and I become addicted to that, because I always want to do something without a middleman, and I think that blockchain and crypto is going to bring that to us. So I didn't know that Alex is going to show the notes, because in Serbia we have a huge inflation during the 90s, and we have a 50 billion dinar note, and I have this stack of those notes. So for the next AMA, I'm coming and here and doing this,
Right.
just to show you how much inflation can destroy your savings and basically destroy your life. In a few sentences, during these times when my father get a salary, that is amount of money that you need to live for a month, and for a few hours he cannot buy a pack of cigarettes. So what Alex was talking a few minutes ago, I feel that on my own skin, and I know how that is bad, and because of that I'm 100% that Celsius is doing the right thing, and that we are going to succeed with this.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm definitely the younger Vlad. I'm not going to say I'm number 2, but I'm definitely the younger one. I'm really glad you shared that story. Some of my first memories are from that period when the old Yugoslavia was going through that crisis, and I think it really left a different mark on people in this part of the world, where we really look to how can we never experience something like this again. And that's why there's a bunch of blockchain developers in Serbia, a bunch of companies. We are country number 5 in the world in terms of numbers of blockchain developers, and for me that's very interesting, like how that changed. Myself, I got involved into crypto some 4 years ago. A cousin of mine is a miner; he still mines, and that's how I got involved in crypto. And then consequentially, I decided to shift my career a bit more towards product development, and then blockchain was the thing I got really interested in, and that's how I ended up as a product manager in Celsius for over a year and a half now, and that's something that I'm really proud of, the fact that we are doing something that is really aimed at helping a lot of everyday people who just want to have the same opportunities as some other people. So that's really for me, that's really a great thing. On the other side, Lazar is very humble. He got me into diving as well, and we have a great team here that's really diverse. So I'm really proud about that.
When you guys talk about a deep dive, I shouldn't think about tech review, right? I should be thinking about going like 100 meters, right? Is that
that would be too dangerous,
That's yeah.
We know about the bus factor in development.
All right. So 30 meters is your limit, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
Let's keep it safe, right?
All right. So Tom, thanks for joining, organizing this. Let's hit us with some questions, and watch out for the chat, because I'm sure a lot of people always complain, how come you didn't ask my question? So we'll keep it short and try to cover as many questions as we can.
Sure thing. Thank you, Alex. Just a short note on the ACH. Rasim is working on it. We have a video coming out for you guys as soon as that goes live, so watch this space. Okay, gentlemen, so I have a question here from Will. How many developers does Celsius Network have?
Okay, so we are 30 plus developers. We're based in 3 locations. So Belgrade team is speaking for you right now, and because the best developers are not in Belgrade, so we have a team in Tel Aviv and we have a team in New Jersey. So we are one being family working together, to bring very good stuff to our community.
And we've added a few people recently, but we still have probably like what, 6 or 7 openings, right? That we're still looking for. So maybe tell people what kind of skills we're looking for, and they can always email to hr@celsius.network. So, but tell people what skills they need to join Celsius.
Yeah, the first skill that you need is a passion. If you want to change something, you need to have a passion for this, and that is the most important thing. And beside that, if you have a QA skills, that could be very good, because we are looking for QAs. If you have a backend engineering skill, that can even be better, because we are looking for even more backend developers. And it is always good if you have some background in any kind of crypto or blockchain technology, because we are working on a very interesting project. Maybe we'll talk about that later. But if you're passionate about disrupting something or bring new values, feel free to contact us.
And unlike many other projects that are pure crypto or pure blockchain, we have one leg in the traditional world, right? With Amazon, with Azure, with other type of services. So we're not just looking for people who are pure blockchain. Actually, if you have both skills, if you have good knowledge on both sides, that is very important and very valuable, because that's the hardest thing for most people, is to bridge those two worlds in a way that is safe and easy for the user.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you have a good knowledge of the finance and you're a developer, so that is always a plus. So,
yep. All right, Tom, next question.
Moving on. So I've got a question here from Rob. I believe this is for you, Alex. Binance has just launched free AUD fiat deposits for Australians, and the deposits only take 4 hours to clear. Can we expect a service such as this from the Celsius team soon?
Yes, you can. I mean, we applied for a license in Australia. I don't think Binance has a license, but if they're applying, that's great. So with that license, we'll be able to do things faster, cheaper, better than anybody else. So we'll announce it when it comes out. We're in the waiting period right now. But again, kudos and credit goes to Binance for launching it first. That's exactly what we want everybody to do. Right, so I'm happy to see others now not just copying us, but actually beating us in some countries. Until now, we had to drag them all to give you more interest income and to lower their fees and to do everything Celsius does every day. But now it looks like, they drank the Kool-Aid. So very good. Next question.
Thank you. So I've got a question here from Greg. Will we have the possibility to swap between stablecoins and other cryptos directly in the app?
You guys want to take it? I can take it. So the answer is yes. We have several technical solutions. It's not a technical problem. The main issue is really that all these guys charge fees. And especially now with high gas fees and transaction fees, you really don't know how much it's going to cost you, right? Because a lot of these swap services don't give you the controls of putting limits and things like that. So, and when you see a number and then another number, you think, oh, I got a good deal. No, it costs you 10% or whatever. So Celsius is looking to provide this service, but do it in a way that minimizes the transaction fees, minimizes the friction, the spreads, and all the stuff that exists in the world of swapping coins. But we definitely think that is something that you need to have and is going to be inside the app.
Thank you.
And, maybe just a little bit of an addition here. We already started conducting some internal experiments with this. So we already had a few rounds and different solution of how we could implement both the front end and the back end. And that's something that's been done very recently in the last few weeks. So, hopefully very soon we'll be able to provide this for all our users. That would be really great.
Yeah, so the technical solution is basically ready, but as Alex said, we always look to bring a best value to our community. So it is not just up to technical solution to put something inside the app and start offering that. If that offer is not fair and not good for our community, we are not going to release that.
Thank you. So I've got a question here from Natalie, and she asks, is Celsius planning to enable the ability to generate our own deposit addresses, such as Gemini and other third-party custodians allow?
Basically, this is a interesting question, mainly because this is something we've had early on in the past, and we've moved away from it because we've seen users clicking on it, not knowing what exactly is happening. So I see this down the line definitely to allow users to, let's say, anonymize their transactions further by, they have the right to get a new deposit address, and they should get one if they need to. So this is definitely something I see down the line. It's not, we're not being picky about costs here. As Alex mentioned, we are covering all the fees. We are covering the gas on Ethereum. So just generating deposit addresses more and more just for the users to be able to completely control their identity on the blockchain, I'd say it's not a problem.
Yeah, just to add to that, there is a lot of value in reusing the same addresses and whitelisting these addresses. So you can't really do that if you're generating a new address every time, right? So if you look at a lot of the security elements inside the Celsius app, you're going to see that we require you to put an address, we then whitelist it, we ask you to test it, and then you basically lock both sides of the transaction. You know this address, you know where it's going to, and these are important things that I made a mistake recently. I sent the wrong person 3 Bitcoins, just a few weeks ago. Luckily, it was a friend of mine, and he laughed at me and he said, "Do you really want them back?" But if this happened to you because you just forgot that your whitelisted address is not your regular address, you will be making 10 times as many mistakes. So our job is really to not just make this app usable for the pros who know how to manage addresses, but also make it usable for the next billion people who have no clue what we're talking about. They don't even know what an address is, right? So if we want Bitcoin or Ethereum or anything else to be successful, we need to bring 1 billion people to use it, right? Because if it's only us using it, then it will always be something that geeks do when they're not diving, so we gotta really think hard about what it takes to bring the next billion people, and it is simplification, not making it more complex. Next question.
Thank you. So Alex, this next question is for you. It's from Mike. What was your reaction to Crypto.com merging their tokens at a ratio unfavorable to the holders?
Well, first, it's something we will never do. But they realized they didn't really need 2 tokens. I think, again, I think Crypto.com is a great company. But, when it came to making a decision, am I going to do what's best for me, or am I going to do what's best for my community? They chose themselves. And, people that were with that project from the beginning are obviously not happy, right? So, again, Cell, we will never, we are fully transparent about Cell. Everything that's happening with Cell. We list all of our users, our top 100 on our website. We're trying to be more transparent, not less transparent. And if there's anything you think we're not doing in your best interest, let me know, because if you have a better way of how to do it even better, we're all ears. That's what we're here for. So this is definitely not something that Celsius will be doing.
Thank you ever so much. So I've got a question here from Peter. Any ETA on a Canadian bank transfer with 0 fee? I really want to buy lots of Cell.
I see this 0 fee thing is really catching on. So in each country, the payment rails are different. In some countries, it's easy. Like in Europe, SEPA basically covers most of the EU and a few other countries. But when you get out of the kind of United States and Europe, each country has its own requirement, its own regulation, and its own rails. So we normally wait until our infrastructure providers or partners enable these services for us to add it. We don't go out and try to get all these things ourselves. Sometimes we do, like in Australia, we went ahead and did it ourselves. In the UK, we filed ourselves. But in most cases worldwide, we will be partnering with an existing Rails provider, infrastructure provider, who already has all the connections, all the banks, all the clearing, and so on. That's why there is a fee, right? The fee, for example, the 0.1%, which is going to go into effect, is the lowest fee we managed to negotiate with our third-party provider. And we basically promised them a lot of volume. And if you guys don't bring that volume, we still have to pay, right? So that's normally what happens. Celsius is big enough on the crypto side, but it's not that big on the fiat side. So we have yet to prove the volume and pick the right partner in Canada or in other countries where we don't have the Rails implemented yet. Next question.
Thank you. So I've got a question here. We lightly touched on it before, but if we can go into it again, it's from Chris. Where is the development team based?
Okay, let's go again. So thank you for the opportunity to say again that best developer team, that best developers are in Belgrade. And just kidding, of course. So we have a team in Belgrade, we have a team in Tel Aviv, and we have a team in New Jersey. So it is always good to have a lot of people working on the same project, because you will get a different opinion. We always challenge each other. So that is very important to have a great security, great product, and you know, bring the value at the end.
Thank you. So I've got a question here from Ben. It doesn't make much sense to me, so I'm hoping you chaps can help me out. What is the REX framework? And is there anything to share with users?
Yes, so REX framework stands for Rapid Experimentation Framework. That is something that we come up in Celsius. It is, let's say, our secret sauce, how we change the traditional hackathons. Because when you're working with a lot of smart people, there are a lot of ideas there, and how you can build something or improve something. And we are thinking about that all the time, because, you know, we are holders of Celsius tokens and stuff like that. So rapid experimentation framework is a focused work of 2 days, when we bring up all ideas that we collect in the previous months or two, and basically we're working of those ideas to make a working product, or to make a proof of concept, or to extend some brainstorming for some new project that we are going to work on.
Maybe bring one example, because we have several tracks, right? Security, trust, community. So maybe pick one to kind of share with people.
I think that Lazar can go with that one. That is his favorite topic. So Lazar, please.
So yeah, we try to cover a lot of things. You see, these things are don't occur every week. So in between these two Rex events, we try to come up with a large pool of like crazy ideas, innovative ideas, little bits that might help our users experience the app better, experience the crypto better. So one of the things that we've developed in one of these experiments, and that we're working right now to bringing to our users, to our community, is the Celsius Explorer. So what's the deal with the Celsius Explorer? We want to be able to completely showcase to our users the transparency of the system, the ins and outs of the Celsius financial system, to break it down for them when they're happy that it's Monday. We don't want them to feel like they're getting this random amount of crypto on Monday as a reward. We want them to fully understand how that crypto is calculated. Why did they receive this exact amount? We want them to see and validate on different blockchains that this is really the fair distribution of the Monday rewards that Celsius offers. So there's a lot of complexity there, but I would simply say three things that are going to be completely available to our users. The first one is being complete transparency. The second one is the ability to verify that there's no tampering in the data, there's no special treatments on these rewards, that everyone is equal in this game. And third one being is that we want to display and give APIs to our community who we monitor all the time. We're seeing all the amazing stuff that community comes up with, the graphs, the dashboards, the sites, the Telegram bots, everything. We have a really vibrant community, and we want to bring back to that community of developers and crypto geeks to give them APIs which offer a complete picture of all the transfers we have, both inbound and outbound, and to see where that might lead them. So we're happy to announce that. Apart from the Celsius Explorer.
When is it going live?
Oh no, the tough question.
He's not allowed to answer that.
Be careful with the promises.
No, look.
No more diving until it's live. You know?
No, this year's been tough on diving. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
no, but look, it's not easy. Like the problem is that even though we have all this data, we need to protect our counterparties. We need to protect our users, right? We need to. It's not like we can just put all the data on the blockchain and say, here is every transaction and everything that happens. So the hardest part was actually coming up with a design that combines effectively what's called zero proof, right? Where we're giving you the proof and you can rely on the data and see that it wasn't hacked. And you know, I always use that analogy, right? Try to go to your bank when you make the next deposit and ask them, I'm giving you my money. I worked for this for an entire month. Tell me where you're going, where are you going to put it? Who are you going to lend it to? How much they're going to earn? How much of what they earn you're going to pay me back? These are all the things you're going to be able to see and audit Celsius in real time, right? And that's what's really difficult to do. So what Celsius is doing here is really, it's a breakthrough, we think, because this is what the future of finance needs to look like. Right? It's not just about we're going to be a better bank, trust us, right? We're not a bank, right? The whole point about what Celsius does is that if you can see all the deposits and you can see all the loans and you can see all the interest that we earned and you can see your rewards every month and you can see, yes, I'm getting the pro rata. I am 1% of the BTC pool and I got 1% of the rewards of the BTC pool, right? These are the things that we're going to deliver. And again, you don't need to be a technical person because the community altogether has enough technical people that if we do something wrong, if we're hiding anything or we're lying anything, in 5 minutes, they will find it and rub it in our face and say, what are you guys, crazy? You thought you could get away with this? Here it is. You know, we found all your errors. And I can tell you that when Celsians.com published their data, they found a few errors. They were not intentional errors. It's not like we were cheating. But we made a few mistakes and they pointed us to these mistakes and we corrected them, right? And you can, everything you see on Celsians.com, the website, is feeding off actual data that's happening inside Celsius. So that's our goal. We're getting closer and closer to getting to having you see it. So when you get the wallet update or when you get a link through an email, it tells you earned interest on a Monday, you'll be able to click on something, put a special key that only you have, and it will show you magical stuff that you've never seen, not just from any other company, but it's basically, no one has ever done this before.
Yeah, so
did I overpromise? Wait, did I overpromise?
No. No.
I still don't know when it's going live.
Yeah, so as you said, we are testing it, and we want to eliminate those accident errors, because everything is very, very transparent and open, but we don't want to have an accident error just to not have something to explain, and what we want to achieve this is when we distribute rewards, we don't want to say you got this amount of coins because Alex says so. We want to say for community to have a feeling you get this because numbers said so.
Right.
So
it's a data-driven proof. It's not it's not
Absolutely.
because somebody signed off on it. It doesn't
Absolutely.
matter. I always remind people that 2 months before Lehman Brothers went bankrupt, their auditors said that they were doing just fine. And just a few weeks before Wirecard in Germany went out of business and found out that everybody found out that they were missing $2 billion, their auditor, actually 2 different auditors, said that everything was wonderful. So what happens to us, all of us, we, the 7.5 billion people live on this planet, is that we have to trust these institutions. When everything is fine, they get all the bonuses, they get the big money. But when anything goes wrong, we have to bail them out. We have to pay for it. And we pay for it in the form of our currency turning into this. That's what's happening, right? Because every time we bail out these institutions, all we're doing is diluting or debasing our currency, right? That's what we're doing right now in the United States and the rest of the world, right? So these are, from the beginning, we said we're not gonna, unlike fintech, which didn't even put a scratch on any of the banks, we're gonna create a new system. We're gonna create a system that everybody, a new standard that everybody is gonna have to adhere by. Because if you're not adhering by it, no one is gonna give you their money. No one is gonna trust you with their deposit if you're not fully transparent and you cannot prove your deposits, your loans, your interest, your distribution, you acting in the best interest of your users, right? We take these things for granted, but most of the people you work with today cannot look in you in the face and tell you, I'm acting in your best interest. I'm not overcharging you. I'm not stealing your money. I'm not paying myself giant bonuses because I put too much risk on your capital. All right, next question.
Thank you. Okay, chaps, we're now into the 3 hardest questions because I barely understand what's being asked. But the question here is from Martin. How does your tech stack look on the server side? Are you running on one of the big 3 cloud providers? And which services do you use there?
So that's something I would like to tackle. You see, now the question immediately switches to on which cloud are you? 10 years ago, when somebody talked about having hybrid infrastructures, they were thinking about having your own data center and having some stuff on the cloud. I'd say that we're slowly redefining what a hybrid infrastructure means, because now you have this whole ecosystem of decentralized apps, of DeFi and everything, and you have this cloud, which is almost in front of our eyes, becoming a relic of the past. So I'd say we're a hybrid infrastructure. We're running on AWS. The reason why we picked AWS over 2 years ago, mainly because of their unprecedented security, stability, having options to run at numerous geographic locations at once, and also having supreme network connectivity, which is really important for establishing consensus between our nodes, for streaming large amounts of data to sync up our nodes and stuff like that. So basically, that's the sweet spot we picked for having such a hybrid infrastructure, supporting 18 different blockchains and still having this centralized part of the system.
Yeah, and just to add to that, the reason we must have one leg in kind of CeFi or centralized finance and one leg in DeFi is because besides Bitcoin, every other blockchain has either stopped running, had a hack, had to have a fork, or basically had a major problem, right? So, or had a 51% attack or whatever. You show me a blockchain, I'll show you a problem there, right? So Bitcoin is probably the only one that kind of did not have any of these major things. And the reason for it is that these are all new, very fresh technologies. So if you placing all your bets and the security and everything else on something where the code is maybe 3 or 4 years old, you're guaranteed to have problems. So what Celsius has done is from day one decided, okay, we have to be legally compliant, meaning we're going to do KYC ML, right? DeFi doesn't do that today, right? Which we think is going to be a problem in the future. You have to have an anchor in the traditional world. You have to be the bridge to the traditional finance because all the money has to come from there, right? So that is very hard. That's not easy. It's much easier to just run on a blockchain, right? But bridging those two worlds is much, much harder, and doing it in a safe way. Because again, I always tell people that the blockchain does not talk to the internet. There's no connection between the Bitcoin blockchain and the internet, or the Ethereum blockchain and the internet. People go look at me like, no, it runs on the internet. No, it doesn't. It does not run on the internet. So creating, what Chainlink, for example, does, one of our partners, is becoming an oracle. It pulls the data from the real world and feeds it in a reliable way, in a way that everybody inside the blockchain can trust, right? These are the things, the bridges. They are one of the bridges for information. We are the bridge for value, right? We are the bridge on which value comes in to the different blockchains.
Thank you. So I've got a follow-up question here from Martin, and it goes, how do you ensure the Celsius app is secure? Since it's open source on GitHub, anyone can discover and exploit bugs.
Or anyone can launch another Celsius.
I told you it was a tough one.
Yeah, that is always the option. But, when you have a basically open source project, it's bring transparency to the code, but from other hand, it's bring you that little bit of healthy tension that you need to keep attention on every detail, just not to get hacked or got exploited. So when you're coding and you know that hundreds of people are going to see your code, I think that you're working better. And for me, the quality is when you're doing something good and no one is looking. And for me, to have an open source project is a double quality, but because you're working on something very good and a lot of people are working. So
right, everybody is watching, right?
Yeah, everybody is watching. So for those guys who don't have a technical background, it doesn't look like that I wrote some line of code and push that on a GitHub. There is a lot of people in the chain who check that code. We have a security audits. We have
white hat guys trying to hack us every day.
Yeah, so you have hackers who try to exploit, but you have let's say a good colleagues on a GitHub who point on something to get improved and stuff like that. So
we paid several bounties. I mean, it's not like part of the benefit of also having open source is that first you can work with partners. Like, for example, we had a hackathon with Chainlink. We have a hackathon with Horizon. We have a few others scheduled with other major blockchains. And you want to invite the community. You want the rest of the community to come in and participate, right? So if you look at our website, we have APIs. We have open data feeds that you can use to create amazing things. And we're just in the beginning of that, right? But we also work with, again, we have several bounties open at any time. So if you see something that is not done right or needs to be improved, you can make easy money coming and showing it to us, right? But the prize, having over $1 billion in assets is a huge bounty, right? I mean, the fact that Celsius did not get hacked, most of our competitors got hacked, most of the exchanges out there got hacked. Some of them lost, tens, if not hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin, right? So this team, and again, we have a whole security team, right, that is kind of making sure that everything is done right. But this team has performed in a world-class level, right? I mean, few days ago, Amazon was down. The entire cloud was down for like a few hours, right? Because of a security hack. So, so we have many different elements. I think we're the only company in the world that is implementing two different MPC technologies, right? Two layers of MPC protection, as an example. So these are things that unless you're like a in like some military lab and you're working on something for the Pentagon, you don't really see, right? So Celsius is breaking new grounds, not just in not charging you fees and paying your gas fees. We're breaking ground in security. We're breaking grounds in how to create all these layers, right? For us, layer 0 is not is not the blockchain. For us, layer 0 is the security layer. How do we deal with security? Right? Everything else is built on top of that. And a lot of it has to do with, again, many of our team members are ex-military, right? Counterintelligence, people who worked on these things, both defending your country or making sure that your enemy doesn't get to do bad things. And so we have some of the best tools in the world and some of the best people. And again, there's a huge variety of people in the team. It's when you look at everybody on the team, you go like, how did we collect all these people? It's amazing, right? Everybody comes with a different skill set. And that's how you create better code and you create better utility for the crypto community.
Yeah, and it is very important for the culture that we have in a company. You know, it is always welcome when you challenge something, if that bring a new value. You know, so people are free to challenge everything and to propose a better solution, and everybody's listening because everybody know that is the right way.
I'd say not only the liberty to challenge, but the encouragement, because that encouragement to challenge everything and to come up with argumented no's and really enthusiastic yeses to some of the ideas is something that drives the entire Rex process that we've talked about forward and brings new and exciting features to our customers.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay, so chaps, final difficult question. This comes from Andre. What are the biggest challenges for the tech team?
Vlad, I'll let you tell one of the challenges, I promise. So you see, when we started like over 2 years ago working on designing and implementing the Celsius system, we've had this mission statement that we must bring crypto to the masses, and there's really a lot to it when you're doing it, when you're bringing stuff to someone who doesn't, as Alex said, scuba dive and do crypto during work hours, but really to someone who just wants to achieve financial independence and has heard of a new cool project which brings just that. So we're always thinking about how to make our application as usable as possible to a user who's not really introduced to the concept of SegWit, Bitcoin addresses, who doesn't really grasp what gas on Ethereum is. Come on, like you tell these users, we don't make you pay any fees to your transactions. They're just thinking, oh, they're just not taking anything from us. No, we're actively paying the network. We're sustaining the network so that you can make your transactions. So there's a lot of these things that we need to simplify, that we need to make in such a way that doesn't compromise security, which is our #1 priority, but also doesn't confuse the hell out of our users. So I'd say that's a major challenge. Vlad, perhaps you have something else.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It is always hard. It is always hard to find the balance. You know, to find the balance between the security and user experience, and people always want to do something fast, and that is the biggest challenge to make everyone happy. You know, and in the process of making everyone happy, you know, then you come up with article which wrote something it's not right, and you know it's not true, you know, but you just keep going, you know.
Yeah, if we were building a new dating app, we could look back and look at the last 50 or 100 of them that were created, pick the best ideas, and just maybe put another fancy interface on top, and we were done, right? But here, there's no one to copy from. What we are doing, no one has done before. Celsius was the first time in history that somebody paid you interest on crypto. Right? You could just take any coin, deposit it, and you got paid every Monday, right? Since we launched. And now we're doing it on gold. Tomorrow we're going to be doing it on other digital assets. So these are breakthroughs. These are not little things. These are breakthroughs. Why do you think everybody's copying us, right? So everything we're doing, we are doing the hard trailblazing work of innovation, of experimentation, of the hard thinking that needs to go into solving these problems, right? Because again, most of before Celsius, if you look at most of the people that came into crypto, they just copied something from Wall Street and they brought the same concept to crypto. They said, the exchanges on Wall Street charge fees, let's just charge fees. The exchanges on Wall Street liquidate their customers, let's liquidate the customers and charge them fees for liquidating them, right? And so on, so on. I can sit here and give you 50 examples of the opposite of what Celsius does, right? So it's not just about, okay, how do we act in the best interest of the user? It's also, well, how do you implement that on a blockchain where no one has ever done that before? And part of the reason why almost none of the fintech services have managed to put a scratch on any of the banks is because they didn't push the envelope. They did not really go and innovate. Right? They had the layers, they had the infrastructure provided by the banks. They put a layer on top of that that was the fancy fintech, and they called it Venmo or PayPal or something else. But in reality, nothing has changed, right? I mean, show me something that is really acting in your best interest that came from fintech, right? So if you want to transform that entire experience and really deliver the power to the people, you have to rethink everything. And that's the hard part. The hard part is, and that's why, look, a lot of companies are struggling here. A lot of companies are struggling to create utility on the blockchain. It's not easy.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a very challenging environment, you know, but for me, it is very good when you have that feeling that you woke up every morning and you start to compete with basically with yourself, because you're the first one in the field and then you are moving everything forward. So you're competing against yourself and becoming a better version.
Right. And like Vlad said before, right, it all starts with passion. I mean, a lot of people want to know, what is the secret to Celsius success? How did you guys get $1 billion faster than anybody else? You know, why are people trusting you? You know, and it's every employee in Celsius. It's not like one of us has a secret sauce and we keep it all to ourselves, right? Every person in Celsius brings a critical piece. Without it, we wouldn't be able to do anything, right? If Lazar decided that he wants to scuba dive 7 days a week in some tropical island, we will not deliver the next version. There's no doubt about it. You know, same thing with Vlad number 1 and Vlad number 2. I don't know which one is what, but the point is, every person in Celsius is a critical piece of our success. And you know, we obviously want to enlarge that family, but there is no secret, like you can touch one area and say, here, this is what they've done better, cheaper, or faster, and that's why they're doing so well, right? And all the credit goes really to the community. I mean, the community looked at us and said, this is an interesting project, we're going to fund it. And then the community looked at us and said, wow, they delivered a working version 3 months after we funded them. Let's deposit some coins in it. And then the community got paid every week. And they looked and said, wow, these guys really pay every week and they pay more than anybody else. And they're really acting in our best interest, right? Let's give them even more coins. And then we opened up our round of funding, and the community came and said almost 1,000 people, 2,500 people applied, only 1,000 of them qualified, actually invested side by side with us and became equity holders in Celsius as well. No one has done any of these things, right? So we're not just innovating on the technical side, we're innovating in every area to align the interest of our users, our customers, our vendors, everybody, to build the future. Because this future is for us. It's not for, I'm building it for myself. I'm building it for my kids. I'm not building it for you, right? So we all need this, because I guarantee you that no bank is going to build this for you, because they want exactly the opposite. Banks get a 10 out of 10 for extracting all the value possible out of the depositor and giving it to their shareholders. Right?
Yeah, and maybe what community is seeing that maybe the most important thing is that we are keeping promises, and thanks God that Alex did not make a lot of promises on this call, regarding technical stuff, because it is going to be a hard weekend then.
Well, we know what we're going to develop. I mean, we have a very clear roadmap. Obviously, for competitive reasons, we don't want to talk about all the details, but again, transparency, we have no problem talking, because I know none of our competitors are working on that. I don't know. I don't think BlockFi or Nexo is trying to open the kimono and show you everything they're doing with your stuff, right? So I'm not worried about that at all. But other features we are definitely keeping under wraps, because everybody just copies. They wait for us to launch, and then they try to copy as fast as possible.
Yeah. Regarding that, regarding transparency, I'm talking for myself now. I'm a cell token holder. I get paid in cell tokens, and for me,
it's better than dinar. It's better than dinar, right?
Yeah, and have interest every Monday. I don't have that in bank when I put the dinars there. So what I want to say, I don't want Alex to tell me, these transfers are real and the cell tokens is secure. I want to see that for myself, and because of that, we are working on Rexes, and we are and we propose to make Celsius Explorer. And what I can promise is that a lot of things is coming, because in the next Rex we are going to work with the partners, and there is a lot of them with a lot of ideas, and it is going to be a very fun.
So everybody wants to know if these two exchanges that are integrating with us are going to go live. I think one is going live this month and one is going live next month, right? No comment.
I'm gonna have to save them right now, Alex. I'm not letting you do this. No.
They're what do you call it? They're both API integrations. I can use the name, but I think you know what I'm talking about. So
I will move aside. I'm still trying to think what a Mashinsky matchmaking app will look like. I can see you as a little cherub, Alex. So I've got a question here from Jack. I want to invest in Celsius. This is for you, Alex. I want to invest in Celsius, but I don't understand how you can afford to lend at 1% and borrow at 10%. I can't tell from my interactions with the app how much risk my capital is at.
Right. So the math is very simple, and we talked about this several times, right? So the only way we can lend you dollars at 1% is if we're making money somewhere else, right? So let's dig into where are we making money on that, right? So we only offer the 1% APR on loans that are 25% LTV, loan to value ratio, right? So what does it mean? It means that if you want to borrow $1,000 from us, you have to give us $4,000 worth of Bitcoin, for example, right? So we have what's called 4 times leverage, right? You gave us $1, we gave you $1 as a loan, you gave us $4 as collateral, right? So we have a cost to give you $1, and our cost is what we publish. You can see our cost, 8.6% is what we pay you to borrow dollars from you to lend to somebody else, right? So we are at minus 8.6% on $1 per year, right? That's what it cost us, right? We charge you 1%, so we're at minus 7.6%. Now we have to make obviously more than that to be able to make a profit. So very easy math. Go to CMC, there's a button there that says lending. There's two options. You can either borrow or you can lend. Go to the lend section, go to BTC, and look at the rate. Right now, the wholesale rate for BTC, Celsius publishes that rate. That is the rate we lend out coins at. So let's say that rate is 6%, right? So 6 times 4, because we have four of your every dollar that we gave you in dollars that we're paying that 7.6%, you gave us $4 equivalent of Bitcoin. So now we're making 6% times 4, right? So that's 24% minus 7.6%, which is our cost of capital. And that is our total income. So we're actually making double-digit return. Now, these loans, when we loan out the Bitcoin, we take collateral against it. Actually, we take more collateral than anyone else. We say no to people every day who come to us and say, I want an uncollateralized loan. And when we say no, they go to our competitors and they give them those loans. So Celsius keeps probably the highest standard as far as a loan to collateral ratio, right? And again, when we publish all these numbers, you'll be able to see it for yourself. You'll be able to see all that data for yourself. So we make something like 16 point something percent income in percentage, right? But because we have idle coins means we have to at all times keep about 20% of our coins in case you want to withdraw or there's a margin call or anything else. So we don't deploy 100% of the coins. We deploy about 80% of the coins. And we have all kind of other costs. We have custodian costs and Amazon costs and payroll costs and all kind of other stuff. And that's why the rate we publish, which today is 4.5%, is 4.5% plus 20% profit. And that is really our income across the entire BTC pool. But the way we make money on 1% is the ratio, the ratio between how much we're lending you compared to how much collateral you're giving us. When you are giving us only 50% LTV instead of 25, we have only 2-to-1 ratio. So we have to charge you higher interest because we're earning 12% instead of 24%, 2 times 6, right? And then we have the same costs, right? We have to deduct those. We have the same cost of capital. And we actually, the 1% loan is more profitable for Celsius than the 7% loan that is the 50% LTV. 6.95, I think, is the rate. So we don't do loans that are not profitable. Celsius does not issue loans where it loses money. Celsius does not subsidize loans like many other people. And when you come and you make a deposit with any of our competitors, or you take a loan with any of our competitors, you should ask these questions. You should ask them, are you providing non-collateralized loan? What a percentage of your loans is non-collateralized? Okay, Celsius has, I think, 7 loans that are not collateralized to our standard, meaning they have less collateral. And that is because every one of those loans is backed by an institution that has over $1 billion on their balance sheet, right? So we can afford to do that and still make money, right? And we're taking less risk, not more risk, lending to those institutions. But you should be asking all those questions. And anyone who's not willing to give you the answers is doing exactly what your bank does. Your bank will never give you any of these answers. They'll laugh at you, kick you out of the bank, and close down your account because you're asking too many questions. So I'm happy you asked the question. I hope I provided the answer. If you want more detail, happy to follow up on that. alex@mashinsky.com is my email. And I answer all my own emails.
Thank you ever so much. So I've got a question here from Zhang. When will the app accept bio access?
Okay, promises again. Vlad, do you want to go with this one?
Yeah, this one I can cover for sure. This is something that's coming in the very near future. We are going to start working on the development. I think possibly in next week. It's going to depend on a few things, but we are always focused on making sure that all of our security features are secure and that actually secure our users on one side, and the other side that they're very usable. So we are still working out some of the design tasks behind that, but very soon we're going to have a much easier access to the app It's going to be much more user friendly, where we, as we mentioned on this call several times, take security as your first priority. Sometimes that is not really convenient for our users, and we're really working hard to make that as frictionless as possible. All the same time keeping the bad guys at bay. So having bio and biometrics in the app is something that we definitely want, just to make the access easier. Again, constantly we are working on a lot of features, a lot of different things are going on, so it's not always easy to get what we want to the community first. But I'm very proud to say that this is something that's coming in the near future.
Thank you ever so much. So Alex, I've got the next question from you. It's from Lucia. How can I sign up for the desktop beta program?
So we actually have two different versions of that. One is a desktop version that gives you similar data to what you see in the app, and it just obviously bigger screen, more data, and so on. And then we have what we call an institutional version, which is something that we keep for as an interface for institutions, where if you are a large user of Celsius, you can actually get access and benefits from additional services that are not necessarily available through the app. So you can apply to either one. Again, if you send me an email or ping me, I'll introduce you to the right group, and you could be a beta tester and explore it. But I think the web version, the retail web version, is a few weeks away. I know we're launching a new website, and then we're going to be adding this function to the website. So it's right around the corner to be available commercially to everybody. Just again, working on a few security things. We have to be compliant to not just from a security standpoint, but also MLD5 and other requirements of how much information we are allowed to show and not show, what each person has access to, and so on. So there's a lot of things that when you are compliant, especially when you're applying for licenses and things like that, like our UK application, I think was 280 pages, right? So there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just a little, I'll just do it, and if I get in trouble, I'll fix it, right? Celsius doesn't operate this way. So we have 3 different law firms advising us, telling us what we can and cannot do in each country. And Celsius really, I mean, this team that you see here has built this amazing engine that allows us to only offer the services that are legal where you are. So if you happen to travel and you land in New York, and we're only going to show you what is legal in New York, and the next day you're in Amsterdam, we're only going to show you what is legal in Amsterdam, and so on. So that is a very difficult thing to do. I know most of our competitors have a service for Americans, a service for non-Americans, right? And they just basically put you either in one cloud or another. And that is not how Celsius runs the business. So we build a global system. It's the same wallet that allows you to do mostly the same things all over the world, right? And I think that's a much better way to move forward, because again, our job is to enable 7 billion people, not try to charge fees from Americans or try to charge fees from Europeans, right? And if they happen to cross, sorry, you can't play in this sandbox, right? That's not how Celsius builds its systems.
Thank you. Okay, so tech team, I don't know who wants to take this first, but it's for all of you. It comes from Andy. What is something you love about working at Celsius Network?
Oh, I think that I already answered that one, so I will repeat. For me, the best way to describe what I love the most is that drive, which I have every day when I wake up, and I know that I'm competing with other companies, outside. So that is best for me.
It would be funny if somebody said like sell bonuses or something like that. For me, the answer would be that no matter if you're in the team for the last 2 weeks or the last 2 years, every opinion matters, every new angle to look at stuff, to look at crypto, to look at the way we do things matters, and there will be someone who will listen to you and give you valuable feedback on your opinion.
Yeah, I think that I got asked this question fairly a bit, not in the context of Celsius, but are you happy with your job? And when you tell people, I go to my work and I feel happy, I don't feel a burden of going to my office, or now working from home. But when you say to people, I'm very happy that I'm working where I'm working, and that I'm that I have an ability and an amazing opportunity to work with such an amazing team on such a great thing. That you feel personally connected to, that's something really special. So I think it's really hard to pinpoint one thing, because it's a lot of different things, and it makes that special sauce from everybody. Everybody brings their little piece to the puzzle, and then it comes up beautifully. So that's really beautiful for me.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely a mission-driven organization. So and we hire, like Lazar, like Lazar and Vlad said, we hire in passion. And so if you don't have that passion, we feel it right away, because we all do. Like it's like the only guy in the room who doesn't wear pants, it's like, what's wrong with you? So we also, the team has, I think, almost 50% women, right, across the world. So we balanced it out. Most crypto teams are either 100% men or 100% men and a male dog on the team, so we from the beginning, we set that as a mandatory requirement, because you don't create a revolution and you exclude half of the population from it, right? So and we are not doing very well in that department, meaning only 10% of our users are women, right? So in crypto it's even less. I think it's 5% globally. So we are doing better than the average crypto company, but we're not doing well when you compare us to most of the other apps out there. So it's not like we solved everything. There's plenty of other challenges that we still need to think hard and solve. Because again, you can build all this great stuff, but if women don't use it, for example, women control 70% or more of the spend in the world, you're just not going to be successful long term. So these are the things that I think these challenges are also what makes it exciting to work at Celsius, makes it exciting to constantly think, push the envelope, come up with new ideas, test, iterate, get feedback, hire new people, right? We hired, I think, 12 people just last week. So that's, and again, all the hard work is done by the team, right? That's we don't have like one wizard who does everything. That's not how Celsius works.
Thank you. So Alex, this next question is for you. It's from Fabian. He says, I would love to take a loan to buy a property. Do you think one day you will have 10, 15, or even 20-year loan tenure?
So today we're not, most of the assets we take as collateral are liquid assets, right? It's very hard for us to take real estate or your business or things like that. And that's where the banks really still excel, right? Now, do we want to be in that business eventually? We do. And I actually had one of my MOIP shows was with Figure, which is the company that goes straight after this, mortgage kind of on the blockchain concept. So we are definitely looking to partner with people like Figure and others who are experimenting on the blockchain. So it doesn't mean that we have to solve the problem. It just means that we need to, just like we partner with Chainlink and other blockchains, our job is to really find the best of breed and bring that to the people. So when we feel that service is available and it's something that is scalable and we can deliver that in a safe way to our community, we want to add all these things into the wallet, right? You should be able to handle all your finances inside the Celsius wallet and know that we're always acting in your best interest. But if we don't feel that service is mature enough or secure enough, or that it brings enough value, like for a lot of these things, the incremental value of what other people already are doing in fintech is just not there. And we have several hundred features to finish. So the challenge is always like, okay, these guys that you're seeing on the screen, we have more things we need to build than employees in Celsius, right? Probably 2 or 3 times over. So the challenge is really, what is the priority? What is the most important thing that gets you adoption, gets you assets, allows you to grow and be successful? Because I can tell you, there's a lot of people who want to take Celsius down. Our competitors, regulators, banks, right? All these people are looking at us and saying, wow, this is a serious threat. How do we slow them down? How do we stop them, right? And for us to be healthy is one of the most important things. Healthy means we have a great team, we cover our costs, we're growing, we're doing well with the community, right? And most of our competitors are subsidizing the interest they're paying you. They're not earning it. That's another question you should ask them next time you make a deposit, right? Just say, are you profitable? Are you making a profit on all these loans that you're issuing? And if the answer is no, I'm not profitable, then you have to ask yourself, well, how is that sustainable? So we are lucky to have been there first and built enough of an asset base where we can say no to many loans, right? We only select the top of the cream, right? The cream of the loans. We do the best loans in the industry. We leave the worst loans to other people. We say no to business every day. I hope I answered the question.
Nailed it. Thank you ever so much. Okay, so tech team, back to you. I've got a question here from Flight. What types of apps would you like to see developed by the community dev partners?
I think that everyone can answer this question differently. For me, I love statistics, and I would love that community use data that we provide to prove that what we are talking is the truth.
Definitely the best way to kill all the FUD out there, right? All the naysayers and people who
are... absolutely. It is totally different when someone who is working for Celsius says something, and when you use basically with the data that we are going to provide, you can use basic mathematics to sum everything, to sum every transfer, and everybody can compare 2 numbers. It's not rocket science. And when you do that by yourself, it's always better than when someone needs to tell you.
Yeah, I have a selfish idea. There are a lot of budgeting apps out there. I myself use one of them, and I would really like to see the data coming from Celsius being used with a community plugin for that budgeting app, just so that all the households that are using certain apps to budget their expenses and incomes see what Celsius brings to the household, see the impact that their Celsius wallet has on their budget. So that's something I would like to see for myself. I'm hoping someone from the community might do just that.
And they should start teaching that in high school, not when you're 30 and you can't understand why you can't save any money, right? That's too late. They gotta really, people need to be educated about finance and how to manage your basically your personal balance sheet from a very early age, because most of us think that we can be young forever, and then as we grow older we realize, wait a second, at this rate I'm gonna have to work for the rest of my life. I can't save anything, right? So explaining to people the value of compounding interest, the value of 15 or 20 years, saving over 50, 20 years to an asset that increases in value. When they understand that, this is what Einstein called, I think, the 8th wonder of the world, right? Compounding interest. So it's not complicated, but it's just something that most of us don't pay any attention to. And by the time we do have to pay attention to, it's usually too late.
Thank you. Alex, I actually need another lesson from you here for this question from Jack. Would you please go over the details for a one-to-one loan between stable coins and fiat? Thank you.
of why somebody would take that loan, or what, or how it's done?
I believe that is what they're asking for. What are the benefits?
Right. So for most jurisdictions, there are no benefits, right? So like if you're, I don't think in the United States, for example, there is a benefit to take a cash loan against your stablecoin. But if you live in France, for example, any transaction you do on the blockchain. So if you sold Bitcoin, you converted the stablecoin into Bitcoin and you doubled your money, and then you converted that into Ethereum and it tripled again, and then you go back into a stablecoin, that is not a taxable transaction. Until you go into fiat, until you convert that stablecoin into fiat, you are not taxed. So, and I think Germany is the same way, right? So now keep it in crypto, right? You have all those gains, you triple, quadruple your money, keep it in crypto and take a dollar loan against it or a euro loan against it, right? So now you're still not taxed because your asset is still in crypto. That's what the law says. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just telling you what I understand the law to be. But because now the asset is still in crypto, you don't have to pay any capital gains on the appreciation, and you get all the money you need to spend. Obviously, you owe money. It's not like you got free money here. You owe money against your asset, but you're deferring your taxes. You're pushing your taxes forward, right? Which is what most rich people do. They push their taxes on the real estate or on their stocks, right? Most rich people borrow against their Apple stock or Facebook stock or Amazon, right? They don't sell it when they need money because that's how they avoid or defer their taxes. But based on where you live, you need to work with financial advisors. There is plenty of good advice on the internet as well, but you need a professional to help you both design and execute properly your financial planning. Part of financial planning is minimizing your taxes. There are legal ways to do that. It's just that when you're barely making any money, you don't have time for that, right? So it's funny, but not funny. It's sad that the poorest people are the ones paying all the bank fees. The poorest people are the ones paying all the taxes. The poorest people are the ones who don't take advantage of any of these opportunities. The law is available to everybody. The law in France applies to the rich people and the poor people exactly the same way, right? It's just that the poor people cannot afford to take advantage of it, right? They have to spend most of their income every week just to stay, above water. So you need time. The most important thing for what you're doing in Celsius, for example, is time, because time is what makes compounding interest be so powerful. Well, time is what makes the yield that we pay so beneficial, right? And you can see that there's several Celsians who put these amazing videos that shows you how just over 2 years, how much they've earned and how much they've accumulated because they hodled and because, right, hodl on. Because they understood, and many of people didn't even understand in the beginning. They just started earning interest and said, wait a second, my interest pays me interest and the value of the token is going up. I'm making money in every direction. And they're like, wait a second, if I just give it a few more years, I can retire just on that income. That is exactly, when that neuron fires in your brain and you realize that you can be financially independent, it doesn't mean you're a billionaire. It just means you can pay all of your bills. That moment, your ego gets 100% boost right that second, overnight, and life changes, right? So I want you to hit that moment, right? And for one person, it's $200, and for one person, it's $20,000. But the minute you hit that, your outlook on life changes. And look, I didn't grow up with money. I was living here in New York and I could not pay my rent. And I'm not ashamed to say that. My credit cards didn't work. Okay. So this is not something that I'm talking about living in a fancy apartment and talking about other people who went through all of this, right? The reason I'm fighting over this, the reason all of us are working 7 days a week around this is because there is a solution. If there was no solution, fine. We're all stuck in it together. But there is a solution, and all we need to do is put our mind into it and just say we are going to deliver it for ourselves and for everybody else who wants to participate in enjoying this journey.
Thank you ever so much. So I'm down to the last two questions, gentlemen. So I've got one here from Rico. I would like to see the FIO protocol technology installed on the Celsius network. Would it be possible? I don't know what that is.
I think that it's not on our roadmap. Vlad, do you know something about that? But what I know is they have a few interesting ideas. For example, FIO addresses and FIO requests, I think. But we already have something similar, which is a self-pay option, which provide users who are using a Celsius app to send funds to their friends. So to be honest, I'm not sure for the near future.
Yeah, look, there's 200 blockchains out there and 2,000 different tokens. So we can't add all of them. I mean, the ones we're adding are things that either already yielding, like the 6 stable coins that we're adding, not stable coins, sorry, staking coins that we're adding next week, right? By definition, they're creating yield by themselves. And so that's one asset class, right? Then we have things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, which we can create yield by lending them out, right? And the third one are stable coins, which again, we have borrowers that we can always transact with and create yield. So for us, when we decide to add something, it's not, oh, look at the code these guys wrote, it's amazing. I have to add this blockchain to my wallet, right? That's not how it works. It works based on how much interest there is from the community. Can we generate yield? If we cannot generate yield, then what's the point of adding it in? I can add 2,000 different tokens, right? So that's not going to help you with your retirement plan. It's not going to help you with all the things we just spent 2.5 hours talking about. So our goal is really to be selective, but at the same time inclusive, right? And our community, look, our community was giving us a hard time about some coins like Chainlink, like others. And sometimes the delays with our custodians, sometimes the delays on technical issues, some of these chains have technical problems, and sometimes the delays with us because we cannot solve the income problem. Like Pax Gold, for example, and I'm calling on all of you to help me solve the problem. We cannot generate yield on Pax Gold. Anyone else who's paying you yield on Pax Gold must be much smarter than we are, because we've been at it for 2.5 years and we can't figure it out. So we did figure it out for Tether Gold, right? And we actually increased the rate by 50%. It used to be 3%. Now it's 4.5%. So we figured it out. We launched it. We earned more than we thought we could earn. We raised the rate. That's what we do. So Celsius, and that's why Celsius is the only one that changes the rate every week. Ask yourself, the rates, the borrow rates move sometimes by 100% and then drop by 50%. And how come everybody else has a flat rate for a year or two? What does it tell you, right? Are they really earning that interest? Does the rate they pay you has anything to do with the market? So the Celsius model is the right model. The Celsius model has been tested through March 12, has been tested through flash crashes, has been tested through a lot of people joining or no one's joining, right? And survived all of those cycles, a huge bear market, a bull market, right? And so on, so on. So we know that our model works. It works better than any DeFi model that currently exists. And if you look at what the DeFi companies are adding, they're trying to get closer and closer and closer to what Celsius offers every day. So for us to add an asset, it has to yield and our community has to vote for it.
Thank you. Alex's final question's for you. It's a tough one. It comes from Tim. What does it take for Bitcoin to be a success? When will we ever see the non-correlated nature of this asset?
When we hit 100 million users, Celsius, obviously, Bitcoin has its own life. The reason I jumped in from the sidelines, I was on the sidelines, right? I have a lot of coins. I was enjoying my life, and I said it's just not going to happen. The mass adoption is just not going to happen unless we provide more utility for, again, hundreds of millions of people worldwide. So for Bitcoin to move from just being a store of value to being a form of payment, to being a currency, we need hundreds of millions of users. You know, most people don't know the US dollar went bankrupt 3 times. Look it up. You know, it got restarted, just like you restarted a new blockchain, you know, 3 times, right? So nothing starts as a reserve currency of the planet, right? You have to earn that. And to earn that, for Bitcoin to earn that, that is 10 times more difficult because it's not backed by any government and it's not backed by gold or anything like that. So for Bitcoin to be successful, it has to deliver much, much more than anything that exists today in any fiat currency or any commodity or anything like that. And that's why the bar is so high. And that's why the adoption is so slow. So now it is doing phenomenally well, right? It's worth a few $100 billion. There's like 40 million people using it worldwide. It is actually used for transactions today, but we're just in the beginning of the beginning. So for it to really hit it out of the park, we, all of us, have to create more utility. And interest income is one of the critical pieces of that utility, because if we can pay interest income and the banks can't, right? If the banks and the central banks cannot pay interest for 30 years because they have all this debt that they have to digest, all the debt they issued since 1970 that basically is coming due now and you know, needs to be reflated, we have a huge opportunity. It's a perfect storm for Bitcoin in a good way, right? The coronavirus, the printing of the money, all this chaos that's going on, the political chaos, and so on. All that stuff is good for Bitcoin. But unless we, all of us, bring many, many people in, nothing is going to happen. Sitting on the sidelines, holding your coins, hoping for the price to go up is not a solution.
Thank you ever so much. That is us done today, guys.
Thanks, guys, for joining. Thanks, guys, for at home watching this. We'll be back next week. And if you want us to...
I won't be, unfortunately.
If you want us to bring anyone else that you think we needs to come to the show, let us know, either outside guest or from inside the company. And thank you again for your support. Thanks for your trust, and have a great weekend.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. That's us done. Everyone have a good one.